What's up, shiny happy people? I am currently on my way to the movie theater to experience something that I just really felt was important as a cultural phenomenon that I needed to personally see through and experience myself. No, it's not Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. It is the Cats movie. I have just heard so very many things about this movie. In fact, it may be one of the least divisive films I've heard of in a while, in that I haven't heard a single person disagree that it is terrible. Not one person has tried to stand up for it or say that it's pretty good. And I've just got to experience this for myself. I feel like this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of opportunity to see something so traumatically terrible in theaters and be able to say that you saw it in theaters. So that's where I'm headed. And speaking of Skywalker, it should speak to you about where I'm at with the Star Wars franchise right now, that I'm genuinely more interested in seeing this than Rise of Skywalker. I have not seen Rise of Skywalker yet. I'm sure I will. Maybe I'll go and see it next week. But to be honest, I just had no particular motivation to go see it. And I wasn't even like avoiding spoilers or anything. I just kind of don't care, except that I want to go ahead and finish it just to say that I finished it. But here I am about to spend money on Cats instead of Star Wars. So that's about where I'm at with Star Wars. But yeah, so I will check in with y'all and tell you what my experience was with this movie. And Cats, honestly, is one of those movies, like I'm a musical fan, but Cats is one of those musicals that just sort of flew under my radar. Of course, I knew it existed. I knew a couple of the songs from it, or at least memory. I knew that song. I don't know that much about it. I think it's like poems or something. Like it's one of those things like Homestuck or Gamergate, things that have been explained to me before, but I still couldn't tell you what they were with a gun to my head. Like I just can't explain it. I'm not super familiar with the plot. As far as I understand, there really isn't much of a plot, but it was one of the longest running musicals like ever. So I don't know. It's got to be saying something, right? Anyway, we're going to find out for ourselves, or for myself, what I think of this movie, and I will check back in with y'all and let you know. So apparently there's enough people on Earth who still want to see the Star Wars movie. I would have thought they all saw it last weekend, but there was a ridiculous line, and here I was standing in this line trying to see Cats. Okay, so just watched Cats. That was one of the most surreal movie-going experiences I've ever had. It was not as bad as they said. It was worse. I honestly, it was like a fever dream. There were a couple of times I was looking around like, am I here right now? Am I present in this moment? Did I have a stroke? Am I experiencing like an out of body? Like, am I dead? Is this hell? Like, what is going on? Oh my gosh. I don't I mean, my biggest thing the whole time was just WTF. The entire, like, what is going on? I have never seen a movie so devoid of a coherent plot. Like, I spent most of it just trying to figure out what was happening. I mean, I understand it's a musical film, but I've seen plenty of musical films that manage to communicate, like, a plot. There was no plot here. I'm like, who is what? They kept talking about, like, Jellicle cats. Never once is it fully explained what those are. I mean, the opening number is all about Jellicle cats, but I'm still like, what the crap is a Jellicle cat, and who's a Jellicle cat? Because at first I thought, okay, so like the Jellicle cats are some kind of mystic, like deity level cat that we don't see, but they like control this universe or something, or these people are all trying to like appeal to the Jellicle cats. Like I thought there were some sort of distant gods, but then it turns out like a lot of the characters are Jellicle cats, but some of them aren't. Like the main character, I guess the main character is like this girl or this little cat that gets like abandoned, and so she meets a whole bunch of other cats and they're like explaining to her how the world works, I guess. But then like they have a whole thing about who Jellicle cats are, and at first I'm like, okay, these are the Jellicle cats, this group that she's hanging out around with. But then they keep saying that the Jellicle ball, there's going to be a Jellicle choice, and like one of them is going to get to go to the overside under or something. I don't even remember what. They had a lot of weird names and weird words for things, but they, like, somebody's trying to get chosen to go to this new life, heaven, I guess, basically. And so then I thought, okay, so are they wanting to be appointed as Jellicle cats? Then I was like, okay, so they're like, to be a Jellicle cat, you have to be like chosen by other Jellicle cats or something. But no, I don't even think that has anything to do with being a Jellicle cat. It's like the leader of the Jellicle cats just chooses a person to go to this place, this heaven. And the villain is this guy named like McCaverty or something. He's played by Idris Elba. And like, I like Idris Elba, but like when he doesn't have his like cat suit on, it's horrific. Like it looks horrible. The whole movie looks horrible, by the way. The whole thing. There were moments where the visuals were so bad. I was like, those are the times I thought I was having a stroke. I'm like, there's no way I just saw what I thought I saw. Like my brain just like checked out for a minute. I'm just stroking out. There's no way that this is a big budget Hollywood film that I'm looking at with these kind of visual effects. It was nauseating. Rebel Wilson's character keeps like unzipping her fur to reveal this dress she's got underneath, and I wanted to barf every time she did it. It was horrific. I mean, I think it's supposed to be her skin. Maybe not. I don't know. There's cockroaches that she's eating. And cockroaches are just small people in suits. And by the way, the scaling of it, like there were people in suits that were supposed to be cockroaches, and then there were people that were supposed to be mice, and the people that were supposed to be cats. But the scale there's no consistency in the scale. Like you're supposed to think, okay, so like these are cats, so they're like about the size of a cat is in relation to a human. But like there's this whole scene where the main cat is like hanging out with these twin cats that are like thieves or whatever, and they're hanging out in a person's house and wreaking havoc, and everything in the house is huge. It's like it belongs to giants. I don't know if y'all have ever seen a cat before, but like, yes, cats are smaller than humans, but not that much smaller. Like when they were on the bed, they look like mice. Like if the bed is supposed to be the bed of a normal human and they're supposed to be cats, they're way too small. The scaling is very wrong. But there's no, like I said, there's no consistency to it. Sometimes they look way too small for their environments. Sometimes they looked too large for their environments. And I didn't know which end was up. And Jennifer Hudson was in it. And Jennifer Hudson's got a great voice, obviously. And she sang Memory, and that's the only song I know from Cats. And she sang it well. I mean, she sang it very emotionally. I kind of felt bad for her. She was giving it all she had. And this movie did not deserve it. Like, this movie did not deserve Jennifer Hudson going 110%, as she always does. Jennifer Hudson does not know how to sing, like, low-key. She's going to sing. She's going to bust it. She's going to sing with every bit of soul in her being. And she did. And it was like, it was trying to be like the moment where, like, Anne Hathaway's in Les Mis, and she's singing I Dreamed a Dream, like this intense emotional moment, but she looks like a freaking cat. Like she looks like this horrific cat human hybrid, and it's a nightmare to look at. And so it's impossible to take the scene seriously. It's impossible for me to be like feeling things, or like, oh yeah, I'm emotional, I see this is supposed to be sad, or I'm supposed to cry or something. Like, I can't feel anything but just disgust and horror because of what these people look like. Who could have thought this was a good idea? I just heard that Universal apparently thought this was an Oscar contender. An Oscar contender. Oscars for this travesty. Who greenlit this? This was one of the worst looking, just looked horrible. Even people who are typically good singers sounded bad. The music was very bad. Like, the sound balance was off. A lot of times the instrumentation was way too loud, so you couldn't hear what they were saying. I could make out like 1 out of every 10 words. Like, there were whole songs where I'm like, gun to my head, I couldn't tell you 10 lyrics from this song. I don't know what they said. I don't know who. I don't know what I'm supposed to be listening to. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. I don't know what's supposed to be happening. It was bad. It was bad. It was fascinatingly bad. But the thing is, not only did it suck, it wasn't even all that interesting. There were parts of it that were just like, like when I was just thought I was having a heart attack. Those were intense, but then there were several long stretches where it was very boring, and I'm literally sitting there contemplating walking out. I paid for a ticket, and I'm like, I guess I should see this through, but I honestly want to leave. This is so boring. The parts that weren't, like, once you got used to just the pure nightmare fuel of the visuals, it was just boring. It wasn't even a compelling story. And again, there was barely a story. I could barely figure out what was going on. Even at the end, I was unclear what was happening. Apparently, Jellicle Cat is supposed to be like some kind of word based on someone saying dear little cat. Like dear little cat turns into Jellicle Cat. I don't really know. I guess if you said it like a British accent, dear little cat, Jellicle Cat. I don't know. I think that's what they said. I think the last line was Judi Dench saying something like, "You're a Jellicle Cat, a dear little cat." And I'm like, what? What is going on? It was bad, y'all. Like, I want to say see it for yourself just to see, but it was bad. Like, oh my God. Like I said, the parts that weren't just horrible were boring and incomprehensible. I just don't know what was happening at any given time with this film. It was such a waste of good actors, mostly. Taylor Swift sucks. Like, that's another note. Taylor Swift is in there, and this is a big they made a big deal, of course, because Taylor Swift is a big name. She plays a very minor role. She has like one scene, big scene, where she's singing the theme song of the evil cat or whatever. She's one of his henchmen, but she's literally in like two scenes. She's like at like in the last third of the movie, she has her song where she's like dancing around like a sexy cat and singing about how evil the guy is, and then he's like, let me be, because his whole thing is that he wants to be sent into the over-under or whatever it's called. And the Judi Dench cat who's in charge of the Jellicle Cats, I guess, and she's the one who decides who gets to go to the heaven place. And she tells him no, and he like threatens her and stuff like that. And Taylor's just like, yeah, he's good. He's just like a henchman, I guess. Whatever. She wasn't good. She was doing a really bad British accent and trying to like sing in a sexy way, and it was just very uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I felt like I was watching furry porn the whole time. It was just uncomfortable. Wasn't good. Yeah. So that happened, and then like there's freaking Ian McKellen. There's a lot of celebrities in this. A lot of celebrities, and I'm just like, who? Like, most of the budget had to go to just getting these big names in this movie, but it's so embarrassing. They deserved so much better, most of them. I mean, Jason Derulo sucks. I hate him and everything that he's ever done. I don't think I've actually seen him in a movie. I hate his music. Yeah. I mean, and I hate Rebel Wilson too. I'm sorry. Rebel Wilson is not funny. Her entire like character is I'm fat and I fall down. Like, I'm fat and clumsy. Look at me. I'm doing gross things and I'm fat. And also I'm clumsy. Look at me. Did you notice that I'm fat and I fell down? Fall down, go boom. Also, I'm fat. Did you notice? Like, that's her whole character in every movie she's in. She's like a discount Megan McCarthy, and I actually kind of like Megan McCarthy sometimes, because at least Megan McCarthy has other jokes. She may do the whole I'm fat and clumsy thing more than she should, but she does have other jokes. I've never seen Rebel Wilson do anything other than I'm fat and clumsy. So she's trash. Jason Derulo is trash. James Corden, stop putting James Corden in all these musical stop putting him in everything. Like, I don't hate James Corden, but I've had enough. Stop putting him in all the musical movies. He doesn't need to be there all the time. There's too many characters. That's another issue. There's too many people, and you're supposed to give a crap about the story, if you can call it that, with all these characters in it. And you're like, who are these people? What am I even, like, every now and again, you'll be halfway through the movie and they'll introduce a new character. And I'm like, what? I don't care. What is happening? Like, Ian McKellen comes in about like a third of the way through the movie, and they're like, oh, and he sings a whole song about his like youth and how he used to be a theater cat. And I'm like, this movie should be wrapping up about now. I don't want to hear more characters and more story. Like I said, I think Jennifer Hudson's character is supposed to be like a big deal. Like, she's supposed to be some rejected cat of former glory, but I don't know, because everything about her they sang and I couldn't understand what they were singing. And yeah, so I felt nothing when she had her big emotional moment. I felt nothing. I felt nothing for any of these characters. I did not care what happened to them. I didn't care who lived, who died. I didn't care about anything. There were no stakes. These were the most uninteresting characters, and you didn't get a chance to get to know who they were or why they mattered. It was just a nightmare in every way. I don't understand how this movie was made, how it was greenlit, how anybody watched it when they pre-screened it and said, yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's going to win us an Oscar. Bad movie bad. I would say it's fascinatingly bad, but like I said, a lot of times it's not even that. So go see it if you want to. But yeah, just know that it was terrible, and I feel like this review was all over the place, because like I said, I just wanted to kind of word vomit. I just got out of the theater. I'm still at the theater, and I just wanted to give my raw, fresh take while it's fresh in my mind before I delete it permanently from my memory files, how bad this film was. All right. I spent $9 on a ticket to watch Cats, so you don't have to. You're welcome.